We're here to make a short video about the Rams and the 2013 season. We'll be talking about the 2013 season, Week 2. The Rams played the Atlanta Falcons on the road. Both teams entered the game on 1. So theoretically, you could say it was like a must-win because both teams feel they're playoff teams, and the likelihood of you doing well having an 0-2 start to the season is very limited. Coming into the game, there's a little bit of rivalry going on here. Not really much of a rivalry, more of a rivalry in the sense that the Falcons got our biggest player in Steven Jackson, and it was the first time we would see him, see what he'd be able to do. The game in itself wasn't a great game for the Rams. We didn't start off too bad. We didn't start off too hot. Not too bad. Matt Ryan led the Falcons on a drive down where Steven Jackson wound up scoring a touchdown at 8:34. After this, he left the game. At the time, I thought he left for some sort of knee pad injury, but he's actually injured. And they report today he may be out 2 to 4 weeks. It's no surprise. Steven Jackson's always injured. Next, after that, they threw a deep pass to Julio Jones. I believe Janoris Jenkins was beating that play. That pass really hurt. I believe that was an 81-yard touchdown, and they said it was the longest touchdown of Julio Jones' career. And that really ended the first quarter. We didn't really do too much. It's just a scoring, so I'm going with Yahoo. After that, Osimhen intercepted a screen pass that was thrown to Richardson. He took that 68 yards to the house, and then it was 21-0. We then had a nice drive where we ended up with a field goal. It was 21-3. Falcons then took the ball back for a halftime and scored a field goal. So going in, it was 24-3. After that, Bradford then went on to score. He basically led the team on a 2-minute drill, / no huddle type of offense where we had one touchdown on the third table in Austin. Then we had another touchdown to Austin Pettis. It was basically the same play they ran in the preseason where Austin wound up falling down or tripping, or Bradford threw the ball too high. But Pettis caught it for a touchdown. And then Austin had another touchdown. And then eventually the Falcons wound up scoring to make it 31-17, and they might win the game 31-24. Now, the score would reflect that the Rams were sort of in the game. It was a battle back and forth, but really and truly, it was not that close of a game. The Falcons were up 24-3 at half, and I believe they laid off the pedal and did not go all out. I haven't been on watch the game a second time, but the game was basically over. The stats may reflect the game was sort of close, but the game was over. We were basically blown out, and it's sort of what was expected. The Falcons they're expected to be a playoff team, and from their eyes, they're expecting to go to the Super Bowl this year. So, they're not going to lay down, especially at home, the home opener. The two things to take a note from this game is that the Rams, for 2 games in a row, have not got any running game at all. Our running stats were Richardson went 10 rushes for 35 yards, no touchdown, long of 10. Bradford had 3 rushes, 25 yards, long of 23. Tavon Austin had 2 rushes, 8 yards. Isaiah Pede had 1 rush, 1 yard. Benny Cunningham, 2 rushes, no yards. Those stats right there really reflect how much they are struggling. Going into the season, people really thought that Richardson would be a breakout back. I was actually not in favor of that, mainly because he's a third down back. He's very small, and I don't believe he can run in between the tackles. In the NFL, with the speed of the NFL, you have to be able to establish that inside run to be able to go to the outside. You just can't just run sweeps and screens all day because you have too many. The defense is just a little bit too fast. Everyone's athletic. Also looking at it, the Falcons didn't rush for that well either. Steven Jackson actually had no rushing yards in this game. He actually went out after he scored that touchdown. Receiving wise, I was actually surprised. I didn't know, but Givens had 5 receptions for 8 yards. At five receptions, he was thrown to 8 times for 105 yards, 21 average, long of 47. Pettis had 8 receptions, thrown to 11 times for 78 yards, and well, no, I got that confused. Yeah, that's right. Long 21 touchdown. Tavon Austin had 6 receptions, thrown to 12 times for yards of 47 and 2 touchdowns. So it was great to see Tavon Austin actually get those 2 touchdowns. However, we're still not really seeing what we drafted him for. The best example is if you Google, if you YouTube Tavon Austin, you look at what he was in college, we're not seeing that. He's not going deep. He's not running away from people. He's not taking the screens. And I don't know if this is more of Tavon Austin being young, Tavon Austin not knowing the book, Tavon Austin may not have the ability, or is it Brian Schottenheimer not using him correctly? They seem to not use him deep, and they also seem to not. They also seem to run a lot of reverses. Whenever they do that, it's not really working. Now going into the season, I got a lot of flack because I didn't think that Tavon Austin would be that great of a pick, and the primary reason for that is because you drafted him top 10. He was number 8 overall pick. I believe he was the first offensive weapon taken in the sense that he was the first running back, tight end, that type of player taken. So when you draft a guy that high, especially at wide receiver, he better be a number 1. And I don't think he has number 1 capability because I don't think he'll ever be able to play truly on the outside like that because of his size and strength. So he's going to be compared for his whole career. He'll be compared to guys like Julio Jones, Des Bryant, Larry Fitzgerald, Megatron, AJ Green, Vincent Jackson, all guys that play on the outside. So we don't. It's too early to say what that pick's going to be like, but so far, it hasn't really panned out the way the Rams have thought, and the way a lot of people thought. After that, Jared Cook didn't have that great of a game. He had a great game the first game. The second game was not too hot, and that really concludes receiving wise. We go passing wise. Bradford actually had another high profile game. He wound up throwing for a total of, let me see here. He wound up throwing for, he had 55 attempts for 32 completions. He threw for 352 yards, percentage of 58, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. The 1 interception is sort of iffy because he threw to Darrell Richardson, he dropped it, and he wound up going back. So it's not really his fault. I don't believe he was sacked this game. He was rushed a lot. But the key thing to look at, what you really want to do, if you really want to look, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but you want to look at what were his stats in the first half, because the first half is where that game was run. The game was not won in the second half. Second half numbers really don't matter so much. Second half, Bradford dominated the Falcons' defense. First half, he didn't do anything. Offense didn't do anything. Defense couldn't stop anyone. Now, if we go look at our defense is sort of struggling here. Okay.